I believe. We're still sort of having some problems with the other pad. A lot of them got restored. For some reason, the orchestration weekly one in particular uh, still is back to October 26th. But a lot of the other ones are all back. Like if I can look at like say the orchestration weekly 2021 here. It has the full archive there. So I think all the other ones are back. I don't know why that particular pad is missing information, but everything else seems to be back. So I had to ask Adam Creatman about it a bit. He wasn't really sure what happened with that particular pad. I don't know. We might end up having to live with that. But I think at least if we made other pads that we were linking to, those ones should all be back now. It's just the main pad, I guess, will have to be set up again. I might just remove the stuff that's in there and then just start a new one for this year, basically. Because we already have that 2021 archive, so we don't need any of the information that's in the main pad right now. It's just 2021 stuff. And I guess we'll have to live without the 2022 stuff. Like I said, if anything we link to, like the other pads we made for like the compile Cephidium and all that stuff, those should be back now. Like I said, let me actually add an entry for today. All right, so that's that. Does anybody have any other topics they wanted to have in here? There was one thing I was thinking about talking about, but it's not super important. So if anyone else has something else they wanted to do, probably do that first. No. All right. In that case, there was the one thing I did want to talk about was as part of the compile Cephidium work, we had talked about maybe being able to include other packages or dependencies really into Cephidium, the binary that we couldn't do before. But I don't remember what we left off on that, whether that was actually possible, if we were going to do it when we wanted to sort of start doing that.
Yeah, so it should be possible. It should be just a matter of using the existing infrastructure, because even before I converted it to Python, there was like hooks for that. It's just unused and untested at this.
What did you say was unused and untested? I missed that part.
The ability to automatically add dependency to the zip app.
Yeah, so I was wondering if at some point you wanted to test adding like one thing in, something simple, just I don't know, something we could use for somewhere, maybe something for like setting up our IPs or whatever. Do a bunch of that.
Yeah, one of them might be something that came up recently was like YAML support, right? We have hacky YAML support in Cephadium today, I think.
Yeah, so I think the question then would be if we want to do that, try to do that before or after the Reef release. That's a decent ways out, but I don't know for like the first time we have this sort of package in here, if we want to already have dependencies in there, or if we want to just let it, come out like this. So you can build it without any dependencies for now, just to make sure people can do the build part of it, and then go and do another, maybe one of the dot releases, see if we can try adding a dependency.
Yeah, I mean, for something like this, which is like check if additional thing we don't strictly need right now, is there, we can just do it in a branch. We can just have a branch and just say, hey, this is the branch where we're experimenting with additional features for the file thing.
Okay. Yeah, we could do something like that. That's super pattern.
And I haven't forgotten about the fact that we need infrastructure support for Reef for the download and signing and all that. But given that our point of contact for that stuff is Dan Mick, I have been very hesitant to bother him about that
Yeah.
because I see him very active on some internal chats where he's like pulling his hair out over the infrastructure issue.
Yeah. I think most of that's back up now, but I guess I probably want to wait until still like next week or so. I know that this all this stuff happening is going to delay, probably gonna delay the release a little bit anyway. I know it's just
It
pushing back
works out.
the
Yeah.
yeah, it's pushing back the dev freeze anyway. So everything I imagine will get pushed back a little bit, and so we should have that extra time to figure that out. So we can do that then. Yeah, it was just so I guess maybe we can do something. Maybe we can try see if we can come up with some other branch and then mess with it a little bit and see how it goes in there. And then you can try inputting those things into actual like main branch or whatever after the initial Quincy release or the Reef release. Just so when we know that it works with the packages in general, and then we can add the extra thing of oh now you need some dependencies in order to install um,
Yeah.
or to build the package. Uh, It'll be nice eventually because that there are a lot of weird things we have to do in the binary right now in order to get around the fact that we have no dependencies currently.
Works for me. I'm happy to help with that anytime. Just ping me.
All right, I'm just writing some notes in the pad.
Yeah, I haven't forgotten about the whole compile Ceph ADM thing when I kind of got distracted by the containerized builds because the reason I started working on containerized builds was to test aspects of compiling Ceph ADM. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so we can do that. That'd be nice. After the release, we can. Well, I guess we can start testing a bit earlier if we have some time.
Yeah.
And I guess we still need to finish. I need to actually find the other pad that you had for with all those things we're gonna do. I know it should exist now, but the link is gone from this main pad, so I don't remember where it was.
I just verified it while you were talking earlier, so I'll share the link here. Don't have to go. That's not what I wanted. Wrong window. I believe that's the one you're referring to.
All right, yeah, it looks like that. So I think we were actually still on phase one.
Yeah, we. I know I kind of got, like I said, I got kind of distracted with the containerized build stuff. I should have time to work on more of the unit test stuff now. So I will try to assign more of those to myself now that the pad's back and
I did just
do a
merge the
few of
one
those.
for the first one on there, the agent stuff, yesterday.
Right.
So that one's in the actual tree now. So I'll have to go back and look at what the actual coverage is at this point. But I should probably do some of these other ones as well.
Yep.
I'm being more priority than others. The command deploy I'd really like to do. Yeah, so I guess we'll go back to doing that. Now that we're sort of back in the swing of things, and I think that because at least on main branch testing is still blocked by the build issue with Java, maybe this is a good time to again go back and do some of that. So I'll try to maybe look at some of those later today. I'll add a link to my PR into this as well because that first one is actually done. And then if we can get like most of that in, I guess that's not really dependent on the refrelease because I don't think we're gonna end up splitting up the file before the refrelease at this point. Again, it seems like if we
Agreed.
just
Yeah, I think that's what we had agreed on before anyway.
okay, I couldn't quite remember what we had done. But yeah, if we do that, then it keeps the compilation part as simple as physically possible, like where they could literally rename it if it does not working or something. And then we'll be able to see how it goes and go from there, I guess. But
Yeah, and
this
that
stuff
was
at least
partly to
isn't.
keep. Oops, sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah, this is part at least for the testing that at least doesn't break anything or anything, so we can still go ahead with at least all of that.
Right. I think the main reason we weren't going to go crazy about breaking it up quite yet is to make backports a little bit easier.
Yeah, it will be harder once we do that. Yeah, that'll be after the re-release at least.
Yeah. So backports post reef on like main will be more challenging, where people will have to probably code it up twice or that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. If you had like new stuff, you'll probably have like some other file you're putting it in on a reef, and some back into the main file. Um, the older Quincy branches. So I think at least most of the Pacific backporting is probably done, other than important bug fixes, which hopefully we won't have after we have all this testing in here. So hopefully it'll just be Quincy, or mostly having to worry about backporting too at that point. I mean, even then, it'll probably now that once we're at another major release, it'll probably reduce the amount of backports we're doing there a little bit as well. We'll probably stop backporting. We're already stopped backporting like everything there. We're still backporting a lot, and then it'll get reduced a little bit. So hopefully it's not super high impact. Maybe at some point we'll add like a phase 3 to this, and that'll be actually adding the dependencies or testing that in, which we could test earlier than when we finish phase 1 and 2. But as far as actually doing it, it'll probably like the main branch will probably go in after the phase 2 stuff where we're restructuring things.
Yeah, I mean the phase names aren't set in stone. If you want to make phase two become adding dependencies and the current phase two become a phase three, that's totally reasonable. I'd be okay with that.
Right. Yeah, so at least
It's
now this
not,
bad's
yeah,
back, we can
yeah,
write some stuff down here.
it's the whole phases thing isn't even like necessarily time wise. It's more of just logically like what are the various steps.
Hmm. All right. Um, I think that's all I kind of wanted to talk about, at least the topics I had, because doing this sort of dependency stuff will enable some other stuff in the future, but nothing we need to talk about right now. Um, and then everything else, I think we're still waiting on the testing infra to be back up for some of the main testing. Um, there's no other huge topics off the top of my head that are going on right now. I guess yeah, the most interesting is still just like the build stuff, but I think you're still waiting on some reviews from Kefu or Ernesto on that, so something really to talk about, I guess.
Oh yeah, my container build stuff. Yes, that's yeah. I'm
Okay,
gonna
so
ping them again, maybe like later this week. It's just I don't know if they are blocked on other infrastructure issues. Not in a rush.
yeah, once the Java issue is blocking the normal builds is resolved. I think they were looking at that yesterday. I wonder if there was an update. I think they were looking at it more, but I don't think it was resolved yet. Yeah, that's all I had for topics, though. I just want to talk about those dependencies and the binary, what we're doing there. I think that's still sort of the main development focus we have, other than like any random feature or bug you want to fix, but that doesn't need to be talked about really in the weekly. Um, does anyone have any other topics they want to go over in here? All right.
Sent.
What was that?
Yeah, nothing from my side.
All right. Yeah, if that's the case, we can just call it here. Save everyone some time, and I'll see you guys all next week.
Okay.
Bye.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Goodbye.